what's up? I'm making a game. Yeah, I was playing the create mod and I was like, yo, that's pretty dope. And then I was like, I want to make something with gears in real life. Like, like a clock or maybe like a hidden like bookshelf or something that triggers a mechanism, which to be honest is probably really easy to make, but I wanted to make it overcomplicated and cool looking. And then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna spend a bunch of money buying the stuff so I can make it. But I do have a VR headset. So I went to the VR store and then I was like, one gear buildy game, please. And then nothing happened because that doesn't exist. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll buy it on Steam. But I don't know. I play Scrap Mechanic sometimes, and that's a pretty cool game. But it doesn't really have the same effect as the Create mod. And I wanted it to be in VR. So, therefore, I was like, oh well, I'll make it. How hard can it be? And then I don't know how to make games, but I opened up Unreal Engine. And then I started hacking at it without understanding a single thing about what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm just gonna show you what I have done so far. Honestly, this is more of like a goofing around kind of thing. I don't think it's actually gonna be like a proper game because I don't know how to make games. But I'm hoping it's gonna be fun enough for at least me to play. And I thought I might as well, record what I'm doing. So the first thing I did was that I went ahead and got some gear models from the interwebs. They were actually already on my computer, but I didn't realize. And then I added rotation to them. Wow. Magic. And then I took that and I made it so that it rotates based on button input that the player presses. So you can rotate it left or right. I made it so that it copies the other one. So it's not rotating on its own. It's following the other one's rotation. It's kind of weird to explain. And then I did the same thing, but with the button one. And for this one, I made it better because if it's smaller, it spins faster because it doesn't actually change the model, but I'll change that later. So it calculates the speed based on the size and the original speed. So it doesn't just copy it modifies it and calculates it on the size, which, I mean, it sounds complicated, but that was like the easiest thing in all of this. The next part was a bit harder. I was trying to make it so you can place them, these purple ones, the ones that are always rotating. It was a bit hard to figure out what direction it's supposed to spin in, because when you place it, it just immediately rotates to whatever the other one's rotation is and just copied it. So I had to kind of change everything, and it took days of effort. Of course, for somebody that knows what they're doing, it probably would have taken like 2 seconds. But anyways. And then I did the same thing for the orange one. And for this, as you can see, it is kind of doing the same thing as the purple one, where it just gets placed down. However, this was a lot more harder to calculate because the size difference was calculated based on the height. And if it's laying down, it was a completely different calculation than it was for when it was extending up. So it just, I had to take a different route with that. But I think I've done a pretty good job so far, especially for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. So as you can see, very early in game development, I just thought I'll give some introduction just to test the waters, see what I can make in this. I want to see this turn out to be a sandbox game. I think I might add some like challenges and stuff. In the end, I think what I like the most about Scrap Mechanic is that it has a workshop where you can upload to just on the workshop. I don't know how to do that, but I love to figure it out and have a game with the workshop where you build stuff. I was also thinking about adding like tasks and like a tutorial, not a tutorial, more like a campaign of like you learning how to do it if you start where I am, which is 2 IQ. And it starts from the easiest things and it just keeps on getting harder and harder until you know how to like make a very complex mechanism. So it's partly both to teach the player and to teach myself because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so just in the end you'll be making like complex clocks. I am not sure how I'll do that, but I really want to do a campaign where you can solve it in any way, but the end result has to be the same. It would be pretty cool. Yeah, thank you for watching the first episode of the Game Dev. If you have any ideas that you'd like me to implement, no, but what would you like to see in the game? You can reply and I probably won't edit if it's bad because your idea is probably bad. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, goodbye. Oh, I don't know how to close this. Wait.